come. Achieve success with Global.Media.com. Then celebrate it with or without champagne or...
Oh no, wrong event. Hello, my friends. Who's here? Knock on the door. Well, come in is what I'll say, right? So glad to be back. Like I wasn't just on the show with Paulette just now. Let me do my YouTube channel because we all need YouTube views, right? Welcome, my friends. Welcome. So, welcome to one of my favorite rooms. I guess that's why I still do it, right? The what if room. So we were talking earlier. I think I get this feeling that many people have lost their way when it comes to finding the bold idea. Yeah, it's what it is. Is it a problem? No, not really. I guess. One of the books I was reading from this morning basically said, "Look, teach the world what you learn." I think that's a biggie, right? I think that's why you find most people will talk about mindset stuff. So when we learn something, the inclination is just teach the world, teach someone, right? Otherwise, it seems a bit selfish to keep it to yourself. Hello, Miss Yolanda. How are you doing? Just so you know, so I'm on chapter 3 on the edits. So I got 4 more to go. So I'm thinking next few days we'll get your book done and out. I'm so glad you're here. How are you? Join the studio. I'm sure I'll send you the link to your WhatsApp, right? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic. Yeah. Anyway, I think like I say, I think we've lost our way a bit when it comes to creating our bold idea. Do we not want to create our bold idea? Maybe not. Not everyone has what it takes in terms of courage, in terms of being. So I think a lot of coming up with your bold idea and going for it is it's courage. It's huge courage, and it was also, I guess, becoming the person who does. I think that's a big part of the conversation today. How you doing, Nikki? I see you. And my friends, if you're here, say hello. If you don't say hello, then I can't welcome you. And I can see you're here. I can see the number, but I can't see who until you get in the comments, right? Anyway, many of us have bold ideas. Of course we do. I guess then comes this fear that grips us, literally around our throat, right? It really, it just grips us. And before we know it, we are shrinking from our bold idea. We're shrinking from what we know has to be done. Does it have to be done? Is it really me to do it? Can I do it? Anyway, Nikki, and I hope your errands go well. I'm sure you finish soon. When you do, if you find a minute, then you feel free to join us. If something triggers you, especially, tell Dad. Dad, give me a couple of minutes. Let me go and tell anyone what I really think. I think he's so wrong, or he's so right. Either way, you're more than welcome to join and come and share some of your thoughts with us, right? And I'm glad you're here. Have you heard about my author speakers conference? And so my big event on the 26th. Well, you two will for sure, but you two are my. I see Sean's here as well. Again, you three are my bona fides, right? You're my genuine, my genuine friends. So I hope and pray. Well, I'm going to badger you into buying a ticket, right? Author speakers is what it sounds like. My passion is for authors. It ties into our conversation today, right? Because our conversation today is about how do you go big? How do you come up with a big idea that's truly that's revolutionary? Okay, and so once I go to author speakers, right? You see, I know the problems in my sector, right? And I publish books. I work with authors every day, right? I know the problem, and author speakers is an answer to that problem. See, that's how I suggest people might want to come up with that bold idea. See, last week I talked about, 2 weeks ago, I talked about, you know, let's do things, let's come up with like our big solution in incremental stages. Let's do it step by step. We create something or we do something, we do it again and again, but each time we do it, we try to make a change, a tweak, an improvement. You call it what you like. Marginal gains leads to success. You can just look at sports people, for example. The last few years, you see that sports people are achieving more than anyone that people ever have before in history. Why is that? Yolanda, no, you're into basketball. Can it really be that people today are jumping higher, running faster, punching harder, lifting more? Yes, it can be that we're doing more today than people ever could. The only reason for that is marginal gains in the sports field, right? Where people are trying to improve. They say if you improve 1% every day, at the end of the year, you'll be 37% better. Okay, I know. I mean, isn't that good? 37%. That's 37 times, or 37 times better than you were comes, a year ago. That's good, right? That's remarkable. Think of that. Look, as much as I love the idea of marginal gains, and as much as I know it works, that was then, this is now, right? This is now. And how you doing that? My point today is that you can quantum leap your thinking. Sean, I'm sure quantum leap, you know what that means, right? Essentially it means that you can create a breakthrough. You can bypass the process that other people go through. You can essentially leave everyone else for dust. You can create something remarkable. Now, let me get a simple example. There was a day when there were horses, right? People went around on horses, right? And then someone said, right, we need to get there faster. We need to get there better. And as they would do. If you do it in an incremental, iterative improvement way, you say, right, let's have faster horses. Oh, I know. Let's band horses together. Let's create a carriage. Now we've got 4 horses that are running together. Isn't that faster than 1 horse? I'm sure it is, right? It should be faster than 2 horses. Maybe faster than 3 horses. And then Henry Ford and his friend said, no. Mercedes said no. Let's stop talking about bloody horses. We can talk about horses, but let's talk about horsepower. That doesn't involve a single horse that's going to crap everywhere and need to eat, need to be treated. That's a quantum leap of an idea, right? Let's invent this thing called the motor car. Ooh. Man, isn't that good? Isn't that good? That's a quantum leap. Others were thinking of slow improvements, and someone thought, no, let's break that chain. Let's create a true, new, different, better solution for humanity. That's what I'm going to talk about today, really. How you doing, Levine? Glad you're here. So I think it's all about this, the discipline. Maybe we need to be disciplined, self-disciplined, another key to consistency. Yeah, but and last but not the least, loving doing it. Everything you say, I agree, Levine. Alas, there is a beginning. We need to start somewhere. Everyone here has an idea because I know all of you, and I know most of you who are here, right? Especially those in the comments. So I know you have big ideas, great ideas. Where do your ideas come from, my friends? Please put in the comments. Now, where does your idea come from? Of course, then you realize it's much easier if you just join the studio and come and share with me and that way we can talk, because trying to type everything out is a bit much, right? Anyway, she said, Yolanda says it's the work they put in. The world evolves more and more. Yes. But humans getting bigger, faster, stronger? Maybe. But I say again, I think it's a 1% improvement, marginal gains. They wear better footwear, they have better courts, they have better eating, they have better drinking, they have better recovery. All those things all mount up, right? And of course the work they put in today. It's hard for me to accept. It's all about marginal gains. Think of Jesse Owens. I mean, he was a fantastic athlete, right? Super fast. Is Usain Bolt faster than him? Yes, if we look at the clocks, the times. Every sport you look at today, they have better numbers than those who've gone before. And it's hard to explain how, right? Yolanda says it's down to so your big idea came from experiences, right? So, Jay, I like your idea. Jay says ideas come from pain, trauma. Yeah, there's a truth there, Jay. There's a truth there, right? How you doing, Jay? Right. Of course, I know you got your storytelling, genius idea and mission to be conquering, right? Okay. Well, how long are we in? Okay, we're 18 minutes in. All right. I'll make it easy for you, my friends. I'll make it very easy for you. How are you doing, Dr. Lisa? Saying I cannot mention our room that's on after this. So we're 7 o'clock now. Oh, my eyesight's so bad. It's getting worse, right? I can see doing my clock back in there. Sometimes I think it's at 7. Is that 8? No, it's 7. It is 19 in the UK, 1901, which is, I know my clock is fast. I know it's 5 minutes fast. If you're looking at your clock thinking, I live in a world of funny clocks. Sorry about that. Anyway, so join us for Lisa's room at 5 p.m. Eastern. We're going to talk about, I guess, how to find. It's not finding love. It's about maintaining and feeling the love and having those meaningful relationships and conversations in menopause. Because Valentine's, yay. You can imagine, right? Valentine's can be hectic. If I talk, Lisa, on the one hand, you just want to be left alone, to have the day you're having, and the other people want of you. And sometimes they want of you out of love. Sometimes they want love out of you, and they love from you. And some people just have a meltdown instead. How do you deal with that? That's a conversation I hope Lisa's going to help us with today. Anyway, Yolanda, yes, okay, Yolanda. Jay says nice ideas come from pain. Yolanda says better diet, indeed. Desire, hunger, tenacity. I love all those, Yolanda. Okay, but I think there's a beginning. There's a beginning to all of this. It's a beginning to our bold idea. And I think a lot of people miss this beginning. See, I heard this morning, and I just shook my head. Let's say there was an event. I stumbled across it, right? And basically they were saying we can't all be rich, we can't all be wealthy, we can't all be successful. I'm like, why not? Hmm? What do you mean? And the lady was seriously saying some people were born poor and other people were born to be rich. I'm not the one that was born to be rich. You're thinking, lady, you're talking rubbish, serious rubbish, right? But she has truly come to believe that no matter what she does, no matter what her friends do, and to not succeed. Everyone and everything is the world that's done it to them. It's God that's made them poor because that's what is destined for them. It's destined for them. I felt like screaming across the screen, lady, God never made anyone to be poor. God did not make you on earth to struggle. God wants you to be successful, and God's giving you all the tools to be successful, right? All of them. All of them. And we can all be successful. But I think, the answer to the question today, how do you make the quantum leap? What does it take to make a quantum leap in your idea? It's internal, number one. I think there's an internal part to it. There's also a technical part to it. I used the example earlier about the inventors of the motor car. Maybe you might even add the Wright brothers to that. That's who invented the aeroplane, right? That was about a faster way to travel. But they found a solution that no one else has ever found before. And that solution lives on to today, right? Now, how can you create a solution that's going to live beyond us? Live beyond us, outlive all of us, in other words. Right, my friends. It requires honesty. It requires everything you've got, but it requires a basic starting point. Right? Sean, of course, you got it, Sean. Every bold idea I've seen starts with an identity shift. Not saying it doesn't, your pain is not the source of your bold idea, because it is, right? But it does come with an identity shift. I said that earlier on, Sean. I said we have to become the person who does that, right? And you know what, Sean? Many people don't believe they're that person. They just don't. And I keep saying to people, I don't want to be a coach. I don't want to be a coach. I don't want to be a coach because I would just get mega frustrated. Because I think the way to become, the way to achieve the life we want, the way to find our true greatness, the way to reach our potential, is almost so easy. And coaches must say it every day. I know my coach did. So I'm not a special person, right? My coach, he used to bang on the table. You're not getting it. I'm like, calm down, man. Calm down. I'm trying. I'm doing. I'm doing what you asked me to do. Alavine, I see you. I'll bring you up in a sec, my friend. Welcome. Cheryl says, what had to change in you before the idea became visible? Ooh. Lisa, stop it. Hopefully I haven't given it away, right? But it's been an interesting show, especially given that we've got special guests, Jackie Holberg and Gabe Leo. Hopefully that's how you pronounce his name, Gabe Leo, right? Joining us because Jackie's romance coach. I think this is going to be the year of love, not just February. Lisa, I think we're going to talk a lot about relationships, and relationships, not just business relationship. But I think love and personal relationships, love and relationships. I mean, I got a friend who's and I've said this before. Those who know, if you listen to me enough, you heard me say that one of my friends is a sexologist. She's gonna have to come and talk sometime, right? And we're gonna have to find out what that really means. But let's leave that for now. Let's come back to my conversation about our bold idea. You know. Anyway, welcome, Sarah. Yolanda. Okay, I'm dragging it out because I just want to. I don't normally get a chance to speak to myself to speak by myself, do I? So I don't have to share the stage with lots of people. Yeah, so today I'm trying to make, I guess, the conversation. What's the word I'm looking for? Hang the apprehension to hang a bit longer. Let's talk to Alavine, then I'll tell you what I know. Is the answer. Yes, almost said it just now. Alavine, how are you doing?
Hello, I am good. What about you?
I'm, I'm all right. I'm all right, and and I've changed my days, so I tend to wake up early. Yeah, so I woke up something like I think 3:30 this morning.
Mhm.
So it makes a long day to have to live to tomorrow morning about the same tonight. After Lisa's show, I can go to sleep. If
Okay, okay.
I choose to. Normally I say I wake up at lunchtime, so I'd have had a much shorter day by now, right? But
Mhm.
I think I mean I'm enjoying this new way of being because I think I've arranged my life to work according to the new to those
Mhm.
hours. So mentally, I'm all right mentally. I
Mhm.
think physically, yeah, I could need more rest. Right? How are you doing? How's life?
Oh, my life is, let's say it is correct. I also had to make some arrangement in my life, some changes, because I felt I need it. Okay, so I made some little changes. I try to focus more on things I really want to,
Mm,
because I have some goals I want to achieve. And that's it. I decided to take it slowly this year because, when we are in a hurry, we
mm,
never achieve anything good. So I
yeah.
decided to very try to let's say to focus on the fact I want to do everything I have to do slowly but correctly, properly, and once it's done, I want to be sure it's done. I want to be sure that I would not have to come back into it. Yes,
Mm,
maybe I would need to review certain little things to be sure that I'm still aligned, but I don't want to be in a hurry as I was before, and after I have some regrets, or maybe I have to start over, and I really don't want that anymore. So I decided to take my times to follow my rhythm. I know some people would tell me eventually, it is not good what you are doing. You need to work more, you need to work harder, you need to do this or that. But I need to follow my rhythm. At least I feel it like that.
yeah,
Maybe I am wrong, but it is
I
not.
think we all have to follow our rhythm. We all have to follow our, even we have to know and understand our energy patterns. The reason I
Yes.
mentioned my sleep thing is because before I was more awake at night, right?
Mhm.
But now, so
Mhm.
if I wake up 18 hours before, I'm going to be exhausted
Mhm.
come nighttime. But I go to sleep, I wake up again. So you have to be very
Mhm.
aware when you like to work. I think that's one of the benefits of being your own boss. When you work for other people, then they will direct your time, and they call
Yes.
on you to be at work 9 to 5, whatever they want you to do, right? When you're your own boss, you have to find your own pace. The pace that you like working at. You know,
Yes. Mhm.
so
It is.
enjoy discovering what that is. I think we'll have to discover for ourselves. what that
Yes.
process is, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So
Uh,
it's for that. Yes.
It says, I'm looking at Jay's comments. It says all my ideas are bald these days. That's because you got a big shiny bald head, Jay. I didn't say big. I said shiny. It just I watched Jay the other day and I thought, man, that man is doing something remarkable. And I literally was on screen and however you looked at him, his head was just bouncing the light off. I'm like, Jay, what are you? How are you doing that? See, people don't know what it takes to have a bald head. Like me and Jay do, right? It takes a lot of care. You don't just leave it to grow, right? And your head does. It takes work. Leave it a day, suddenly your boldness is gone, and then all the things you're trying to avoid suddenly become, the gray hairs and the in betweens. So I call it, right? Anyway, Alavine. Now, do you have a bold idea? Do you have a big idea? Like on the J.
Um, for the moment, I can say that I have a lot of bold ideas, but I don't have one big,
Gotcha.
because I think I need to really find who I am. Sean said something quite interesting
Mm.
about a shift in our identity,
Yeah, yeah,
and I think my identity is shifted right
yeah.
now. And from the fact I felt like I was not enough.
Mm.
I will never achieve anything good in my life because everyone around me told me that. Okay, so and I am discovering, let's say, no let's say I've been discovering a lot of things since 2023, and discovering that, for example, you are a fast learner when you have this love for what you are doing. Eh,
Mm.
eh, but everyone had told you in the past that you are not a fast learner, you are too slow, you don't have a good memories, etc. And since 2023, I am, let's say, shocked by myself because I discovered that I am a fast learner with the right method.
Yeah.
I have this leadership, natural one. I don't know how I do that, but it seems that I have it. I discover a lot of things, and I am like, wow. So, what can I do? But if I can do that, is that sure? Is that true? I'm still with these questions, and I still feel this feeling of being an imposter. It is like,
Mm.
no, that's not me. That's not possible.
Mm. Mm.
Um, I am a fraud. I still thinking of that sometimes, not every time. Okay, not like before. It was always in my head. No,
Mm.
I will not speak up because I can't, or I will not do that because I am not enough. But so let's say right now, I'm just discovering who I am, and I'm still shocked by the fact I can do a lot of things.
You
And
can,
it,
of course, you can.
yes,
We all
yes, but
can. We all can. I think
yes,
I believe in yourself properly. I
yes,
think I really think there's something.
mhm,
There's a gap in what you just mentioned, right?
yes,
I think
yes,
who those who know
mhm,
and those who do it succeed.
yes, yes,
Zara, I'm sending you the link, right? Those
yes,
you see, the successful people don't live in panic. They don't live
yes,
in chaos. They live in a
yes,
peaceful way, but they
yes,
just get their stuff done every day,
yes,
every day, every day.
mhm,
When you hear that, Mr. Bezos started his business in his garage
mhm,
in early 70s. All he's done is
mhm,
just work diligently every day, right?
yes,
Every day, building that Amazon thing. It does.
Yes.
Just I think just finding that peace in ourselves.
Yes.
See, but I think there's not added equation. This is not the answer to our question today, my friends. I think, but it's part of becoming, as Sean said, right? That per,
Yes.
that who are we is a real question. I think if a lot of people have that 1% of doubt. Like
Yes.
you just talked about Halloween. They had the one that thing, the imposter syndrome. But
Mhm.
just not really
Mhm.
believing and living like they can. I think that when you
Yes.
find that belief, right? I think
Yes.
you're
Exactly.
unstoppable.
Oh,
I really do.
yes,
I
I
think
am.
when you become the person who does that thing, and you
Mhm.
truly believe it, and then you're gonna do that thing.
Mhm.
And to people who keep saying to me, "But Annie, we do, but it doesn't work." I'm like, no, you're not doing. You're
Mhm.
not 100% in. You are
Yes.
you're something percent into it. And I can see now you look like you're doing the right thing, but your thinking is there's
Mhm.
something missing. And one day, Alavine,
Mhm.
I'm human like everyone else, right?
Mhm.
One day,
Mhm.
it suddenly dawned on me. This is what they've been talking about all this time.
Mhm.
There's a knowing that
Yes.
I'm truly set for greatness.
Mhm.
There's a knowing that I can do it, right?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
every day, I've had to get this far to realize I can do it.
Yes.
Really. And so now I can do it. The
Mhm.
world's not ready for me yet. That's why I'm doing the things I'm doing. That's why I'm doing my author speakers conference, for example, right? A year ago,
Yes.
I knew I was going to do it, this
Mhm.
conference, but I didn't do it because I was still under the thing of, oh, what if no one, what if it doesn't, what if it doesn't work, what if it doesn't, and then I suddenly realized that's the old me, right? The new me is
Yes.
like, I'm gonna do it. What
Yes.
if it's not if it's gonna work because as soon as I do it, it will work, right? Now
Yes.
the doing it is a success, right? It's not there's no other success measure. It's not how many tickets I sell. It's the fact that I've actually put that event on.
Yes.
I got my speakers organized. I got several sponsors now. And we're selling tickets. I'm saying, right, what's my waiting for?
Yes.
Right. But I
Exactly.
think, but to walk that walk, I have
Mhm.
a different way of thinking than I was thinking a year ago, maybe even 6 months ago. I
Yes.
think, we all need to get to that level of trusting ourselves.
Mhm.
That of no, just knowing. Usain Bolt doesn't go out on the track. When he was running until he retired, I'm saying, he never went out on track and thought, "Oh, what if I lose?" Never crossed his mind
Yes.
because he knew he was
Mhm.
going to win because he'd done the work beforehand, and the work is mental, as you said. No, Yolanda, it's internal.
Yes.
The only way I can describe it, say what I've written, I'm trying to explain it to people, and I say, I try to find different ways. The way I explain it is this: many of us are trying to run a marathon,
Mhm.
and we want to win with one leg.
Mhm. Yes.
Whereas the person who's going to win the marathon runner, he's done the work. He or she has
Mhm.
done the work. They know they're going to win because they know how to run marathons. They're marathon runners. That's what they're called, right? The identity shift
Yes.
Sean's talking about.
Mhm.
We have to get to a
Exactly.
stage where we believe so much. We know we are that person and we do the work that person would do.
Mhm.
Not by house, right? And I said I can bring all this back to our conversation today, right?
Yes. Yes.
Look, the simple trick, the simple answer, my friends, how do you quantum leap your bold idea? Is that you need to find the secret.
Mhm.
Yay. A lot of people don't like the word secret. I do. You need to find the secret in your niche.
Mhm.
And a lot of people don't find it, they never find the secret, right?
Mhm.
You need to really find out what is it what's the solution that people need, right?
Mhm.
Like I said
Mhm.
to you now, when they said we need faster horses, the men who
Mhm.
created the car said no, people need cars. That was the
Mhm.
secret. The secret wasn't incremental change. It wasn't creating more horses. The secret was the car, comfort,
mhm,
speed,
mhm,
reliability, an engine,
mhm,
right?
mhm. Yes.
We need to find the secret problem
Mhm,
in our niche.
mhm,
It's not as hard as it sounds. I'm saying, now, what is the real problem? Saying I'm talking about this with my friends for a long time. But when I read the book the other day, and it's like, no, it's that is this. You have to find the secret. It's the secrets. That's the answer, right? Secret is the answer. So many of us don't want to acknowledge the secrets. Really, we know what the problem is. We know because, as Jay said, we've been through it. We've used the products out there,
mhm,
right? We know they don't work.
mhm,
You know what's wrong with the products and the services that you use, right? You know what the gaps are. That's a secret, by
mhm.
the way, my friends. Those
Yeah.
gaps, right? People talk about the secret in your sector all day, every day. I bet you come
Mhm,
across it. Like, if you want to find the secret, go and look at reviews on a book in your sector,
mhm,
and you see people talking about things like, if only this could be, if only they could do that. That's the secret.
mhm,
They know is going for the proper gaps that
mhm.
one are real, two you are willing to be annoyed enough to fix.
Yes.
I say annoyed, I say you're willing to dedicate your life to fix it.
Mhm,
Again, in my sound, I'm talking, in code. I'm talking proper reality, right? You see,
mhm,
I worked out the author's problem. It's not publishing a book. It's not, sometimes not even writing a book. Those are hard enough, I know, but I'm saying that's not the author's problem. The author's problem is selling the books. The author's problem is they're not visible enough, right?
mhm,
They don't get on stage. Every author I know, whether they say it or not, and most do say it, is that they want to be public speakers,
mhm,
right? But people don't give them a stage. People give them a stage and they say, come and do it for free. And the authors are like, no, I'm not coming to talk on your stage again for free.
mhm,
And they get resentful. So any decide, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to create a stage. I'm going to pay the damn authors,
mhm,
and we'll sell books. I'm saying, are you brave enough to look at your sector, my friends, and say, I'm going to do what is needed to fix the real
mhm.
problem?
Yes.
That's the secret. That's the answer to how do you quantum leap your ideas. But in all of that, you have to change your identity. You have to change your beliefs. You have to change your thoughts. You have to change who you are. You have to genuinely look at yourself and say, I'm willing to do the right thing.
Mhm,
Even when the world looks at you and says, I don't know if you got the right answer. I'm not sure if I want to pay you for that. That's not, no. As long as you know the truth and you're going to fix the truth,
mhm,
however long it takes, whatever it takes, that's
mhm,
how you quantum leap your idea. Too many of us know the problem, but we don't want to fix it. We tinker with the edges, incremental change, as I was talking about earlier, right? You know, oh, what's the problem with authors? They can't sell books. Okay, let's do more social media. Yeah, that will do it. It's not going to do it. Now let's do some ads. No, it's not going to work because people don't buy books from ads. Let's do more of marketing. No, 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 no. Create the stages for it. Give them the stage. Create public speaking. I'm saying that's what they need, right? To be truly elevated. That's my world. What is the big
mhm.
secret in your world?
Yes, I do agree with you. People will not buy something from you if they don't know you, because if you just gave them ads or whatever you want, me, if I see ads in general, I don't watch ads. So if you have your books into an ad, I will not see it. I will not know that you
Mm,
wrote
mm.
a book or whatever. So it is not good. And I think it is good to have to speak when you decide to write a book. You need to be able to go from this anonymous state
Yes,
to a public speaker, to a public persona, and it is very
yes.
important to be committed to do that, because if you are not, you will not be able to do anything.
I agree. And I agree 100%. I remember when a friend of mine called me one day and said, "Stop this will make you famous thing." I'm like, "What do you mean?" Because stop it. It doesn't mean it's making any sense. I'm like, yeah, but like you just said it. Why I do what I do at Levine, right? Because I want to make people know who my friends are. Make them household names. I thought when I started my business about putting people on TV. It probably still is. If someone comes with £500,000 and says, "Make me famous, put me on TV, on mainstream TV, wherever," I will bend over backwards to make it happen, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
going to take them from nobodies, from unknowns to household name. Then you realize there's other ways, and the stage is what my authors want to be. They've earned the right to be there, but the world doesn't want to give it to them. I'm going to give it to them. It's not about this. This is about me, but it's not really about. It's about you. So now, what's a secret problem in your sector that no one's fixing? Nikki, you came up first, so I'll talk to you. And I'll go to Zara. Nikki, talk to me. What are we missing? What are we missing in your sector?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay, great. I had to make sure I pressed the right button because my cat is on my table in front of the computer, pressing with the cursor.
We can't see any of that, thankfully, so it's fine. It's fine.
So, I think, first of all, hello, Annie and everyone. I would say, one thing I think is missing is people being so busy to get to grow their clientele and chase the bag or secure the bag that they are neglecting relating to their prospects as people.
Mm, agree. Okay. I agree with that. So okay? What is the solution as far as you're concerned? Again, I don't think we need to have the perfect answer. We just need to have a solution, right?
Right,
I,
right.
Alvin was talking earlier about going slowly. I
So,
guess I think I go the other way. I say go fast, get to market, and then iterate, improve
right. So I
fast.
would say the solution is remembering that you are indeed talking to people first,
Mm,
establish a rapport, being genuine, going back to the basics. And if you don't know the basics, then learn the basics, get coached on the basics, where you take a genuine interest in others. You look for a win win solution for both people, or a win win profit for both people or everyone involved, and you find a way to make a difference in a short amount of time while establishing your rapport and while establishing the relationship so that you can begin to obtain the trust, and then you can put them in a funnel, but you're generally at really building a network.
mm, I agree.
Therefore, you're not using people because, to me, when you approach people, whether it's a networking event, whether it's a social event, whether it's social media, hitting the DMs, when you immediately approach people with what you do and
Mm,
how you can help, in the introduction without a real connection, you're just selling. You're just looking to close. And
Yeah.
that they have you have not given them a reason to really trust you. And it's like, okay, so if you secure the bag, but after you secure the bag, then what? Then what?
Yeah. Now,
We
Nikki,
can do
you're
business.
right.
We can do transactions anywhere. Why should I choose you?
I tell you, the people who learn this, Nikki, they make good money in on LinkedIn, especially. I was talking to one of my friends yesterday. You and I know the truth. You said it right. Jay knows the truth too. I say, now, Zara knows the truth. It does network marketing. I say, we all know the truth, right? But people don't want to become that person who does that, Nikki. They don't want to be friends. They think they're bigger. They're too busy. They're like you said. They're too busy. I'm saying to them, look, my friend, slow down. Befriend
Yes.
them. Talk to them like your friend. When they got a problem, make sure they call you to tell you all about it. If you want to see it work, Paulette Hallam, she does it every day beautifully. I'm not saying
Mhm.
it's not hard work. I mean, it's hard. If you to spend 5 hours on a call with anyone who's not family, who's not your family, I'm saying even your family, I still say no. Unless my
Right.
sister, right? I'm saying, but you have to truly be there for people as a friend. When you do that, man, the day I realized that's reality.
Right.
I haven't started making money on LinkedIn. I really haven't. I haven't stopped making money. Now I'm just turning it out, right? Jay, I'm sure you agree. This is the truth, right? It's not rocket science. I said, now, so the guy I was talking to, he said to me, I've had for the last 2 weeks, I've just been doing these meetings, these one-to-ones, right? And half an hour, 15 minutes of time, half an hour. And he sold more in the last 2 weeks than he sold in the last year. That's how I know what you're saying is true, Nikki. Write the book, Nikki. Write the course. Write the now, to help people to really know and learn how to do what you're talking about.
I shall. And to add to that, to the point, I'm not here because you just entered my inbox about
Hmm?
your event. I'm here because we genuinely connected
Yeah,
before learning about your event.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then after coming around your event, seeing not just, well, I knew what you did by looking at your profile, but after coming around your events, seeing how you continue to host your event and hold people in a space where they feel safe to share, respected to share, boundaries are respected, their skills are respected, everyone has room to share, not take anything away from you. Everyone gains something, which makes me more interested in you,
that's it. Well said, my friend.
as well as the participants.
Amen. I'm gonna start blushing. You carry on like that. So, I hear you. It's true. Again, look. Part of discovering the secret is knowing the people you're trying to serve. You must get to know them. You can do polls, you can do surveys, you can do the shallow stuff. You're never going to find out the real secret, what the real problem is. I mentioned earlier, Jay said, your pain has to be part of how you discover the secret because deep down where the gaps are in the services and products you use. You know where they are. You've been there. You know what it feels like when you're like, oh, that hasn't worked. I've still got the problem. I wish if only someone could do this, offer this, right? We've all been there. Many people create genius from that, from just what they know. I'm saying, but if you truly looked at the people you're here to serve and you truly spoke to them, you will find out the secret. And if you, my point today is, if you rise to say, I'm going to solve that problem, whatever it is, I'm going to solve that problem because I know what it is. So I'm not going to lie to myself or to anyone else. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll solve it. That's a bold idea that no one can touch. That's a secret. That's the real answer. Zara, talk to me. Now, what are you thinking?
Thank you. I need just a second. I'll be coming back.
Okay, cool. All right, I can go to Jay. Jay, talk to me, my friend. How are you doing? And how do you get that shiny head, my friend? I'm. I know it's not easy, right? It's legendary. So it's the stuff of bored people, right?
Well, it's all the ideas that's crammed up there that cut off the circulation to the that's what happened. Man, so I'd like to jump in on the discussion here because I think one of the things that we forget about when we're thinking about our bold idea is where are we in that mix? Are we part of that audience? And I think if we are, we're better able to respond to the market, right? Yeah. If we know the pain of our audience because we are part of that audience, then obviously we'll be able to provide better service,
yes,
better products, and all of those things. So when I was talking about pain earlier, man, I didn't know where to begin when I was a cub reporter, right? And I'll be very honest, I wasn't a very good storyteller as a kid. Now, I was 19 straight out of high school, and I was an intern at a cable news station. And for 3, 4, 5, 6 months, it was like pulling teeth. And I saw the annoyance in the producer's eyes. Every time I handed him a script, he was like, oh my gosh, you're not writing a novel. All I need is 30 seconds. I just need 30 seconds from you, dude. What are you doing? He goes, this is the story. Why are you burying the lead? Put it up front. Just the editor stuff, the producer type stuff. And so that training allowed me to fix things, right? Put things where they need to be. But the aha moment was when my producer asked me, if you were the person impacted by this story, what would you want to know most? Not all this other stuff. What would you want to know most? And that was really the kind of turning point. Now, I didn't get it immediately. I'll be, again, all cards on the table. But it took time. It took progression to really hone in on the skills of, if I'm the audience member, if I'm the people that I'm trying to convey this story to, then what is it that I need from this story that would help me in my daily life, right? What is it that's going to be impactful to me? So I think this, and I'm creating this app, and now I have somebody who's coaching me, and they're like, no, this is more than an app. This is an ecosystem. And I'm finding that storytelling allows people to move forward in everything based on my 10 rules of engagement. How do we engage things? And number one is, right, who is the audience? And in my book, I talk a little bit about putting yourself as the audience member.
Yeah.
So all of these things coming together, right? There are basic steps to help you figure out where you need to go. And so I've got this app and this ecosystem now that I'm working on to help people. But it all starts with knowing your audience.
Mm, mm. No, 100%. I totally agree with you. Yes, but I love the fact that you're proving the process, right? Because you haven't stopped at the first thing you've created. Again, I think all of us here will agree with you. Once you know the pain of a problem, you have to, unless you commit to learn more, fix it, just fix it. And the day you started, I'm sure you had no idea what that meant, right? As I sit here now, as an author, I know I need to be on stage. That's where the money is. That's where the audience. That's where the impact is, right? But I say my author speak is not about me. It's about the speakers that I'm going to get to speak. And they're like, "Are you going to speak?" I'm like, "No, I'll host, but I'm not going to speak in that. I'm not going to do it as a presentation in that way." You're the ones. But I know. I feel their pain because I've lived it. You're an author, Jay. I'm sure you know what I mean, right? Now, Nikki, you've written a book. I'm saying, so you know that the author easily gets buried in noise.
Mm-hmm.
Not just in noise. No one cares because no one knows. It's like
Right.
So, but I think that Jay, you're the perfect example of the process. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a year. It's not going to be one thing. It's going to be many. This is a journey, and you have to commit to the journey and whatever that means. You have to commit to one day. They'll all get it, and they will have my help. My solution will be in front of them, right? And it's going to cost you loads of money, Jay. But you know that too. By the time you finish, you're gonna have more. If your hair ever regrows, you're gonna have grey hair like you've never known, right? It's all of that, my friend. It's all of that. I think I guess it's a simple way of saying it's going to take bravery, courage, maybe some level of stupidity, delusion on our part. Is why I call it. Believe that other people looking at you going, "Are you sure?" You're like, I don't know, but I have to do it. No, I got to try it and then see if it works. If this is the one, But I think once you know what the problem is, your level of commitment has to be extraordinary. No one gets there by lukewarm. No, I'll do a bit and see how it goes. They get there because they say no. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to do it as long as it takes until I get there. You go, Jay, please.
I'm going to go back to what you were talking about earlier with, people who invented the motor car. We all think Ford was the inventor. He was not.
Mm-hmm.
He was not. Mm-hmm. There were many other people who invented different types of motor cars at the time. What he did, though, was like most entrepreneurs, he fixed a problem.
Yeah.
And what was that problem? It was really the assembly line, right?
Yep.
But history records him as the guy who, was the one who pushed the motor car into the market much better than anybody else. And so in everybody's minds over the centuries, they're like, oh yeah, he's the guy who invented it. No, he wasn't. He was lazy.
Yeah, but it was smart though. It was smart though. It was very smart.
Well,
it was smart in the sense of street smarts.
Yeah, I want people to understand, when I say laziness, sometimes people are like, what? So laziness is the mother of invention. That's my theory. because
True.
people don't want to work so hard anymore, right? We don't want to keep pushing things up a hill. Now I know a way to get it up there a little quicker. Now I got a motor car, right?
Yes.
See, so these are the things. So Ford was like, man, I need to get this thing out of my garage and into people's houses. How do I do that? I need a lot of people. I need to put them on the line and I need them to assemble this thing. So automation and all that other stuff really came together in this one event, the event
Yeah.
to push the cars out on the market. So if you are that guy with the bold idea who doesn't want to like keep pushing, you know, a rock up a hill all the time, you can actually you can drive it up a hill. Oh, okay, this is how we're going to do it. And we're in the age of AI, blah blah blah. We all know this. And so these are the things that are going to help propel us forward. So if you have a problem and you can't find a product or service to solve it, guess what? You have a very great, innovative business idea on the horizon. You just have to
You
harness that.
do. You really do. That again, the secret, Jay. What I keep saying, the secret. That is the secret, right? Again, you can use your pain. And I think that again, it's worth talking about the journey, Jay. Right? A lot of people think, you do it, the world applauds you, the world pays you. No, you wish, I wish. Ford, he cacked up many times. The Edsel, like I could tell you all about the Edsel, I'm sure you could too, right? The competition that the man faced. He created the model of the assembly line, like you say, literally he broke down, it made cars cheaper. I mean, he made cars cheaper. He made cars more affordable for the masses. That's what Ford really did, by creating this assembly line. They produced cheap cars at high speed, right? Mercedes, the Benz was there before Ford. I know that, and but no one could afford them. No, but Henry Ford did something. He did something amazing, and which was just be persistent. And there's something you mentioned there, Jack, which I think is worth talking about, which is the need for constant reinvention. You have to reinvent. You have to invent even more. You have to invent more as you go. Reinvent what you've already invented to make it even better. And just keep. You can't stand still. Those who stand still, they're dead before they realize. Literally, they're dead. Then where do you want to go? Say Xerox. Yeah, they died. They might still be alive as a skeleton, as a shell, but they're walking dead. They stood still. They're done. They didn't invent enough. Kodak is another. I'm saying IBM. There's so many different people we could mention, right? And the lesson for all of us is don't sit on your laurels. There's people coming past you because they're creating they're improving your solution. What are you gonna do? You're gonna have to somehow get back on. It's only by inventing and reinventing that you can get on the top. I've always wondered, how did big companies suddenly die? Because they stop creating. They stop. They forget the mission almost. They forget what we're here for. They forget the problem they're here to fix. Then they become part of the problem. Zara, are you ready to talk to us now?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for joining the stage. I'm always grateful.
Jay, Annie, and everybody there in the audience. Thank you. I will circle back on. I'm not going to leave that Henry, Ford, because the best. Um, I'm looking for those best people um, in my team, better than me, smarter than me, right? And this one little mindset shift, just small little thought, to surround myself with people who are who are much smarter. And that's what Henry Ford, he was not the one who created the whole empire. But yes, that one one thought he wanted to put into into people. And we actually don't need an MBA degree or a high powered um, some business background. Just one thing we need to remember: um, are we is Annie or Jay is duplicable? Can somebody duplicate them? Now, these are the strategies. Like, you have to make things easy for the people to make them understand. Now, if we are so difficult people, and so these strategies that can be duplicable, and people can come in and join us, and they can actually grow with us. Henry Ford did not invent the automobile, but he did um, something radical that changed the invention's destiny for millions of people. It was it was curiosity, um, a rich person's toy. So, are we really duplicable? The Our business model, or our personalities, or our strategies, or our those marketing models, are they really duplicable for people so they can also join us? And this is what, the Ford radical idea was: to make automobile available for everyone. So, what if what if now, when I look into my bold ideas, uh, okay, what if health could be the foundation of your dreams? Now, this is because I'm into this business where, and I have a story. So, to make sure, what if I could build that global wellness without borders? What if I can grow my business without fees or royalties or any limits? What if your bold idea is just not yours, but it's a movement shared with others? So, one thing, that one word is duplicable. And I feel so blessed, actually, to have these open communications and conversations where actually we build that trust with each other. We we understood with each other. We nourished that relationship over time. So, yeah, I cannot hear you.
To
You
myself.
mute.
Yeah, no,
You
so
mute.
I'm all right now. I'm all right now. So, Mr. Curtis, good to see you, my friend. Glad you're here. That's my sister Annie is here as well. Curtis, how you doing? So I see Michael is here as well. Michael says, bold idea. Here's to staying calm constantly as the world around me changes rapidly to something different that's unrecognizable. The world will change, my friend. The world has to change, right? The world has to change. The only thing that's guaranteed that's is change. As Zara saying, Do we have anything that's actually proprietary? No one does. No one does. No, sadly, it's not sadly. No, when I just said just now, you have to just keep on the invention, reinvention wheel. That it's like it's a hamster wheel. Everything you do, there'll be competition. Guaranteed. So you might as well, I think, brace yourself for it. But I think the bigger issue is whether you lose sight of the real problem, the customer's problem. If you lose sight of the secret, then you're doomed. For the secret will change because customers change, they evolve, their needs evolve, their wants evolve, right? How they want it, how they what they even need might change because you've solved the first problem. Remember, you solved the initial problem, you fill that gap. Now, are there other problems, in their experience? Yes, there's bound to be. Unless you have the true answers, or unless you have the perfect solution, but even then, let's say competition will be knocking at your door. If you just use these events that we're doing, so that people are surprised that as soon as we set a topic, there's someone else talking about the same thing. Some go crazy. They're like, "Oh, they've copied me again." I'm like, "I haven't really copied you, but it's the world we live in, right?" I said I want to start talking about the power of sex transmutation. Suddenly, sexologists come out of the woodwork. Suddenly, Jackie, my friend, is talking about romance. I'm like, I can't bitch about it. The question then becomes, what are we adding to the conversation? Because everyone's got something to add, right? And the people that we're talking to have different issues related. Who's got the? I'm not going to waste time on who's got the right answer. I'm going to concentrate on what are we bringing to the table, to the conversation. And how does it fit to what everyone else is? How does it fit whatever everyone else is doing? But more importantly, how does it fit to what our friends need to know, right? I think focus on the secret. Focus on the finding that issue that you're willing to solve. Anyway, now Nikki, I'm glad you got home safely. Now, Alavine, Nikki, now do you want to come back in the conversation? Jay says your mic I feel validated. You're always validated, Jay. you have a solution, right? Yeah, so well said Zara as well. Nikki, are you there? Nikki, I don't know. Nikki's cat.
Yes.
So is your cat, right?
Yes, I'm here.
Right.
She's off now doing something else, and let's not call her back to the space.
No, let's not. Cats are quite ignorant anyway. But she's done what she wanted, so she's happy now. It's a word, right? Look, Jay and Zara shared. So you've heard a lot since you last spoke. What are you thinking now? I guess. Is it clearer? Are we on the same page about how to find this greatness? How to find your bold idea?
Yes, and I would like to follow back with Jay. I think that it is absolutely awesome that it was brought to your attention that what you are developing is more than what you imagine. It actually being an ecosystem. And the great thing about that is, wait, before I finish, do you or do you not love that in real time I stutter from time to time? I love it. It's part of who I am, right? That's human. Okay, I just wanted to interject that. so, but That is great because in actuality, many of us have the ability to create ecosystems.
Mm.
And ecosystems create opportunities not just for ourselves but other people
Yeah.
outside of the societal systems. And the more we recognize this, the more we step into that realm, the more empowered we actually are, and the less dependent we are on the world and the societal systems around us. The more independent we can become of them, the more we can live a life of freedom that is less stressful, more relaxed, that we deserve. We deserve. They're not going to give it to us.
Mm.
We have to create this realm for ourselves. It's a God given realm for us, but we have to create it in this atmosphere for ourselves.
I tell you. Isn't that the truth? And I say again, I think a lot of people miss that. Jay, the question I suppose, I would ask from what Nikki is saying is that are you committed to do the work to create? Because I know this means another whole level of work for just when you thought you were getting there, so you realize this next level. Are you, how are you getting your head around it in terms of what this means for you? The potential, I guess you got two choices to say, oh, well, I'm happy where I am, thanks. Or you say, okay, fine. If that's what it takes, I'll have to do it. Where are you in your head when it comes to this ecosystem creation?
When I well, first off, when I started this journey, it was like, yeah, I'll do this so I can help the wannabe storyteller. And then I went in and I was like, well, we can help them get to the next level. Well, what's that next level? And then once I got to that level, I was like, can I get him to another level?
Hmm?
So there was a progression. It was like step by step. Here, we're going to get you here. Now that we're here, we can get you here. And then I thought to myself, man, about 2 years ago, I was part of a collective that allowed me to see beyond what I was doing and what I could do for other people. But I had to rely on the things I learned in the corporate world to figure out how to be a business person, an entrepreneur. And then I was like, okay, so now that we got the storytelling done, we need to help you become an entrepreneur if you want to become one. So now that you're an author, what's your niche? Can we help people in that niche and grow you so that you can be a speaker, you can be a consultant, you can be all these other things, creating this ecosystem for yourself. And then I was like, well, why don't I create an ecosystem for me? Right.
Yeah.
So I wasn't just developing this thing for others. I was also developing it for myself so I can help myself while I'm helping others. And what you said earlier, Annie, I am the example.
Mm.
And so now that I'm the example, I'm also the authority. Right. So going through all of these things on my own, trying to help others has also helped myself. And now I've got this ecosystem. I hope everybody can follow me on that. You know,
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Hmm.
I think wow. I think it's just being honest with yourself, right? There's no shirking. That's the point, right, Jay? There's no pretending. There's no failure. You can't fail. Because everything you talk about will be blown out of the water, right? But that's the identity shift that shows to what was talking about earlier. You become the guy who does that, the lady who does that. You have to truly not think you are, not try. You have to become that person, and it's only when you become that person that you can do what you have to do every day, forever. Well, as long as forever lasts, right? I think a lot of people miss that junction. Jay. They miss that little bit of becoming the person. I say all that because I can well believe the way you think has changed. The way even compared to a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, Jay. The way you think, the way you see yourself is just so different. So all that talk about if you want to be a doctor, walk like a doctor, talk like I'm saying. I've said that for a long time. I said people don't seem to know. They think I'm just talking. You know that is the truth, right? I think it's only when you get to implement that truth, be that truth, be that person that you need to be to do what you have to do.
Yes.
There's no other way,
There's no other way.
right? And
It's going
any
to,
other way leaves you stuck, right? It leaves you where you are.
yes, it's going to stretch. Wait, really quickly, if I may. Zara,
No,
I don't know
please.
if you saw my comment, but your jacket is absolutely eye-catching, stunning.
I
I
could
love
not
the
wear,
way
I could not wear
it
that
lays
down the road. I could
between
not wear
and
that
your
down the road,
hair.
Nikki. If I wore that down the road, they'll probably run after me, right?
Yes, yes. Now back to you, Jay. This is going to stretch you
Mm.
in ways that you don't even imagine because you didn't even intend to place yourself here. So the space is going to be uncomfortable. It's going to make you nervous. It's going to have you question yourself. It's going to bring up doubt. It's going to make you want to quit.
Yep.
And I say to you, when that happens, allow it to be and move past it.
Mm.
If it shocks you, if it jolts you, pause and be present to that because that is a shift. It doesn't mean run away. It doesn't mean it's too big. It doesn't mean it's impossible. It
Mm.
means you are transforming into something that you did not even know was not just possible, but possible for, from, and through you.
Mm.
And if you don't want to quit, if you don't think about quitting, if you don't think about running away, if you don't think about stopping, if you don't lose a couple nights of sleep, guess what? If none of that happens, that means you haven't pushed yourself. You have not allowed yourself to be pushed far enough yet. You have not quite stepped out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, tell you. Isn't
But
that?
when
Isn't
it
that?
happens, know this, it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
Because anything worthwhile, anything enormous, anything beyond what we imagine, will make you want to quit, will make you doubt yourself. And anything that's worth it will have that happen. And you're in the right space. And why not you?
Yeah. You tell him. No, you must have committed evil in your last life, Jay. I'm saying, but no, but this is the truth for all of us, as you're saying, Nikki. I hear you loud and clear. It's funny how success is on the very edge of what we call failure. Seriously, disaster. It's funny, isn't it? So I'm talking about this in Stanley Green's room tomorrow. I think, what is failure? I'm like, it's not really a thing. I think, Nikki, your point is so important. So part of this, knowing the secret and then going to create it, the solution, your broad idea, is realizing you can come unstuck. This is why many people just stay in their comfort zone. They stay where they are. I'm not doing it. I'm going to deny I even know that problem exists. I'll tinker with something else. I'll do what's comfortable. I'll stay where I know. Nothing changes. But if you're really going to follow that bold idea, if you're really going to truly make it happen, all the things you say, Nikki, are going to happen. I remember years ago, I used to fear big things. I used to call them, almost get cliff edge moments. And I realized those moments, I think once you get to a certain experience and a certain level of doing what you do for a while. I'm 11 years in now, right? And I'm much less about the peaks and the troughs, which I used to think was bad. Now it's big boy games. Because there's more to risk. There's more at stake. And there's more that's called on you and Jay and everyone else here who's going to create anything meaningful. It's worth knowing, and then we'll wish you luck.
Yes, yes. Find your grounding place as well. And what I mean by that is when you have lost a little bit of sleep, when you have wondered where do I go next, is this the right move? Am I, is it gonna work or whatever? Whatever brings you peace, like if it's a quiet room, if it's jazz playing, if it's a sip of wine, if it's lighting a cigar, find your grounding place and commit. If it's prayer, I'm a strong proponent for prayer. And sometimes, and I say that, but sometimes, to be honest, we need a little bit more than that, and that's just because we're human, right? So you find your grounding place and you commit to going to your grounding place when you want to and when you need to. Knowing the difference between the two, but never denying it.
Jay, feel free. You're gonna respond, my friend.
So, yeah, there's a lot of things to think about and unpack with that discussion. One of the things talking about mindset shifts and pivoting, you just have to look at it this way, right? So if you're going through struggle, if you're going through adversity, look at it from a scientific point of view, not just spiritual, but scientific, because it'll back up the spirituality. And this is what I mean. If you know this theory, tell me where it comes from. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And this is in science, right? So if you think about it from that point of view, if you're going through negativity, then where is the positivity? You just have to find it because it's there.
Yeah.
Because science says it's there.
Yes.
It is there. Of course it's there. It's I think that this is we're going towards, I guess, the bit I look at as risk. Some people want to achieve the bold idea. They want to achieve greatness, and they don't want to do anything that's uncomfortable, unfamiliar. Whereas the positive side, Jay, is in the risk you take. And I'm not talking about blind risk. That would be stupid, right? The thing is that when we become, going back to Sean's identity shift thing, right? When we become the person who does that, we have to trust ourselves to make the right guesses. That's what they are. We have to trust ourselves. We must, because deep down we know how to make the right guesses. Other people look at you and say, I'm talking about wife, kids, and anyone else. So they look at you and say, "Are you crazy?" You're like, "No, I just have no choice. I have to do something. I have to make I have to jump off that cliff. I just have to because what am I going to do? Sit here all day, do nothing? And I say, but no, we have to trust ourselves enough to know, even if it goes belly up, as Nika was saying earlier, even if we totally get it wrong, we have to know we can still save ourselves. We know enough to turn it around, and turn it around quickly is the answer. Not dwell on what's gone wrong, as if that's a place to be. That's not a place to be. Learn quick, fail fast, learn quick, move on.
Oh, yeah.
Create your next success.
I want to talk to you a little bit about what you were just talking about with family. So there's a unique dynamic with family, and this is the way I explain it. If you look at family, right, they see, and it's the comic book superhero type thing that's going on. That's the story. At least that's the story I tell myself so I can get through it. But this is how it is. When you're with your group of friends, when you're out there in the world, you're Superman. When you go home, you're just dad. When you go home, you're just granddad. When you go home, you're just Jay, the husband, the guy who's supposed to be taking out the trash on Monday morning. So, but what you have to understand is there's still hero moments in your identity as Clark Kent, not just Superman. And even though you may not share all your business failures with the family or struggles, so to protect them against what you're experiencing, right there, that's you trying to be the superhero again. But you do have the ability to continue to be that hero at the end where you finally beat the villain, whatever the villain is, right? And you could say adversity, you could say struggle, you could say, publishing that book after waiting 2 years, publishing the book after deleting it accidentally and having 300 plus pages go to ether, right? Moving on and pivoting, you can still be the superhero at the end of your story. But don't be discouraged by the fact that family and close friends only see you as Clark Kent, because that's all they knew you as. That's all they know you for. They don't know the other side to you, your hidden identity, right? Your superhero identity. But you have to stay in both worlds in your mind, that negative, positive, that different identity, because we all hold different identities for different people. And so the story, I always say this, you hear me say it all the time, the story you tell yourself is just as important as the story you share with everybody. You are still the superhero in your story. You just have to recognize those hero moments even when you're in Clark Kent mode at home. And don't be discouraged by the naysayers, even though they're the ones who love you the most, because they're just trying to protect you and don't realize your superhero strength.
Well said, Jay. I think that's a whole conversation in itself, Jay. Because I think for me, I had to learn. It took me a long time. I think you can be resentful when the world doesn't. When you're not treated like a superhero every day. Because in our minds we're not, right? We're just not. We know we're not. We know the problems we have. Thankfully, they don't. But they know that we're not. We're not where we said we would be, where we want to be, where we hope to be. Right? It's taken me a very long time to realize, like you say, that all they're trying to do is protect us. And but I think my wife was essentially saying, right, if you're gonna do it, get on with it. Get on with it. For everyone, not for them, it's for me. That's just saying get because you can't. These struggles can't go on forever. And then because until then, I used to. I thought I was at war with them. Really, I used to leave my office and go and have a fight with everyone in the house and come back and then carry on working. And I realized that's just dumb. It's me that's the problem. It's not them that's the problem. And when you do find your feet, like you say, then everyone's, you're happier, and so you realize they've always been happy. It's you that's always been the miserable one, really. But this when Yolanda said earlier, it's about internal work. I think this is that part of the internal work. You have to become aware of yourself and how how you really are, and how you be. And you have to be the right person for yourself. Some people obviously will go mad. They lose their minds, literally. What a waste. There's no point. And I'm always amazed, and I say, but we see them do it all the time. Bill Gates, Bezos. After all these years of struggle, then they go and get divorced. I'm thinking, what's the point? What is the point? You've done all that for the family, and now you've left the family. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, but it's a journey to keep it all together. I think it's about keeping ourselves together in one piece, literally. Nikki, sorry, I saw you unmuted. Please share with us.
So I really love that Jay used the analogy that he did with Clark Kent because I was totally going to go there. So that's a confirmation that you didn't know that you needed, but you got it. Okay. And then there's this. We all wear multiple hats. Sometimes we wear 4 hats at a time, and sometimes we actually have the privilege to go down to one hat, right? Not everyone is supposed to be in your realm of your creation and your building because it's not their space. They have nothing to do with it. They can't contribute to it. They can only distract you from it. So it bears protection so that you don't get distracted. Who you are outside of that, because it's just different components of yourself, right? Who you are outside of that does not get to escape, right? Because you still have to maintain your other responsibilities. It's just navigating through it all and having a confidant that you can share some of the pangs of bearing it all so that you can continue to bear it all. And when you don't have a confidant, or if you don't have that, again, you're a grounding room. You're a grounding space. Everybody can't go with you. This could also potentially cause some people to fall off, family and friends. And some of them may have been around a long time. You don't get to shrink for other people's comfort. Because see, sometimes our familiar circle are comfortable with who we are, not who we're becoming.
It's true. I think we have to. This is where we have to mature up. We have to evolve again. If we part of our evolution, to find our peace in our mind. Before we, I call it peace. I think, but this is you know, the confidence that you have to have of knowing that you can do this. When we started off, I said, a lot of people don't really believe, right? They don't really believe they can. They question, even though they might say to you, the good words, the right words. Deep down, they wonder in their minds, can I really do this? Have I got what it takes? I don't know whether entrepreneurs ever really feel that we've got it. You know, but see, I mean, yeah, but you have to know you've got it. I didn't say feel. You have to know you've got it. I think that's more a sense of I'll do whatever it takes to overcome, to win.
Mm.
Because without that, you're in trouble. Go, Zara, please. Alavine, I'd love to hear from you too. You've been quiet for way too long.
Let her go first. Let's see what she has to say. What do you think?
Alavine, are you still there?
Nope. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Go
I
ahead.
am. Thank you, Dara. Everything you were talking about were things I was thinking of, about the comfort zone, the fact we prefer staying in our comfort zone instead of, trying to leave it. I think from deep inside, I think that we have difficulties to leave this comfort zone because we have to go through the fear zone. And the fear zone is about questions, yes, but it is also about insecurities as well. And it can be also about the fact our family members, they try, as Jay said, to protect us because they think that we will fail, we will be in little pieces. I do remember when I started to learn English in 2023. Okay, I started by the end of 2023. My mother told me, "Oh, that is not for you. Here all of us we talk Creole and French a little bit when we went to school. So you went to school, so you know how to speak French, but English is not for you." She was trying to protect me because she was afraid, and it was talking about her limitations, not mine. And after a while I just decided to shut up, to just stopping telling her everything. Because of her words I felt discouraged, like I will not make it. And right away after that I I was able to learn faster. So sometimes or going through the fear zone is something very hard. And when we go through that and when we achieve these fear zones, we analyze everything, we take time, and we are not afraid of going through it. And we are not afraid to take um, the bird by the horn, and we just say, okay, that is my insecurities that are talking, or whatever it is. So now I have to go through, and after we will have the learning zone. And when we are in the learning zone, the problem here is, um, are we using the right method for us? Because if you are a fast learner and you want to go through something very slow, etc., maybe you will feel discouraged. Or if you are a slow learner and you need to do it one step at a time, you could feel discouraged if your mentor, your coach, or whoever is surrounding you, um, he's a very fast person with no patience for you. So I think we need to understand that, first of all, we need to be, let's say, disgusting by the routines. Oh, uh, always the same thing. Or every day I wake up at 5 and I sleep at 8 p.m. Oh, it's enough. I can't bear it anymore. No, 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 I can't do it. I can't stand it. No, I have to change something. That is the first stage. And the second one is to identify our fears, whether it is insecurities, whether it is our surrounding, family, friends, etc., whether it is maybe just pride, whether it could be also the fears of of failing, of failing. Oh, I can't do that. I will fail for sure. That is not for me. And after, we need to know how do we learn the method, finding the right method. And after that, we will be able to find our genius zone. And it is a long process. Nothing we would happen overnight. That is something I noticed. And also, when we need to find the wisdom, to find the secret we have inside of us, we need to slow down. It is not about stopping everything. No, it is about, okay, I just need to stop the noises. It could be inside of us, outside of us, and that could mean slowing down. Just, okay, I need to take some moment alone, maybe, or some moment just with myself, with my thoughts, trying to analyze them and to listen to the whispers I have inside of me. And like that, maybe we will discover that these whispers are maybe something very negative, and we will have to, let's say, kill them, or at least trying to find a way to stop them. And that is what I think. And I was thinking about something, about personalities, because since I am able to speak in English, I feel like I have two personalities: a French one. So when I speak in French, I have this personality with a lot of doubts, with a lot of, oh no, I'm not able to do this or that. And when I'm with this English personality, if I can say, I am more like, I will do whatever it takes to make it come true. And if I have to slow down, I will slow down. And if I have to analyze this or that, my fears, or to face my fears, my doubts, etc., I will do it. But I will go with my rhythm. I will not just hunt something else. I will not run away as I used to do. Sometimes I try to run away because I'm afraid and I don't know what to do. But I feel that i- there are some shifts inside of me, and I know it's for me, it's still like a battlefield, a battlefield inside of me. And listening to all of you guys, it's really helping me to go through the process. I will not say tomorrow morning I will contact, maybe, any, telling him, I have a book ready. I don't know if that is an example, but I know I will need more time in order to process it properly, to understand everything properly, and maybe to really have this peace inside of me, this peace of mind I need. That's my words, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for your honesty. There's a lot you say there, right? Now, was that you, Nikki?
Yes.
Please feel free.
Thank you so much for allowing me the time to speak that you do, Annie. I really appreciate it so much. I'm so glad that you spoke again, Arlene, because I wanted to also speak on what you shared earlier before I came on, which you, in your own way, just reiterated. Um, I'm glad that you were able to push past the doubts and find your space and keep going. A lot of times that can be hard to do because you feel like it's you against the world, and sometimes it is you against the world. But that's your feet. And the only way to conquer that feat is to push past that. I also wanted to say that I absolutely 100% agree with both you and Annie in finding your own pace and going in accordance to your energy and where you are and what's being allowed. Because that is a benefit that we have as entrepreneurs and as visionaries. While we carry so much weight on us, that is how we can so easily burn out by trying to move in ways that others expect that's not really what we're called to do. There's a time to run fast, and there's a time to walk, and there's a time to sit. Know what time that you're in and move in accordance to that, and be gracious to yourself. We don't hear that enough, but be gracious to yourself. Because if you're not gracious to yourself, you will self abuse yourself through rejection, through rejecting yourself, through neglecting yourself, through over critiquing yourself, all of the things that you don't deserve and you don't need when you are building and you are dreaming and you are striving for bigger and greater in your transformation.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Jay, the fear zone. We're about to go, my friend. I can't keep you all day. Let me welcome Moketsi. Welcome, sir. I know you're joining from Botswana, you say. And my beloved Dr. Roxana, so glad you're here. How are you? Welcome. Jay, right, the fear zone, Jay, and I guess, don't we all have this dual personality? The one, no, especially when it depends on the time of day and where we are and what we're doing, right? Because the voice of fear, the voice of doubt is always there, but the other voice is always there too. Talk to me. How do you get through this fear zone moments? The self doubt, the castigating yourself. When things go wrong and all of that.
So, yeah, I agree with Nikki. When you're talking about fear, there's really it's that self-realization, right? Like, and it's really your subconscious. We talked about how your family is trying to protect you, but this is you trying to protect you.
Mm.
And that's where the fear comes in. You're trying to protect yourself. And what is it you're trying to protect yourself from? Really, it's the unknown. Like, I've never been down this road, so I need to be very, very careful, right? Over time, right? We've learned not to put our hand on the stove, right? We, either through trial and error yourself or, from mom, dad, granddad, aunt, uncle, from telling you, get away from there, right? But over time, you've just inherited this fear of the unknown. Let's not do that because I don't want to get burned. Never been there before, so I want to make sure I'm okay. And so that's okay. Fear is healthy, right? It allows you to think things through. But what happens though, in most people, is we overanalyze and overthink that fear. So we've gone through all the things, right? We've been talking about all the things that we don't want to experience in this journey. And we're like, no, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do that. And then before you know it, you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. So there has to be at least some semblance of trust in yourself to be able to move through whatever it is that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to what you said earlier, go out to market as quickly as possible and make the iteration. Or you can take that to heart and personally and just, there's that, it's the 5 second rule. It's not the one where you pick up food from the ground. That's not, don't do that. The 5 second rule is if you're thinking 5 seconds or beyond 5 seconds about something, you're going to get stuck and you're not going to move forward. Um, analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
Right?
Decide quick, Jay. Decide quick, right?
Just go.
Yeah, just
and
go.
then iterate at market.
Yeah.
Change, adapt, fix it. As human beings, we hate change, but we're the best at it. We're the best at it. That's why we're at the top of the food chain. We hate it. Every single one of we hate change. It may be in different and varying degrees, but when we're forced to, great.
We have to trust ourselves to genuinely rise and shine when the time comes. And I think that it's what you said. It's by trusting yourself. This is why I'm having a conversation tomorrow. What does it take to trust yourself? How do you trust yourself? Do you trust? We have to trust ourselves implicitly. But I think, again, that this, I think on the journey you learn. You have to learn to trust yourself. Otherwise, you're not going to go far anyway, right? But by the time you get to take those big risks, you work your way up, and you're taking many more risks on the way there. This is just another one. I think that the fear zone thing, Alavine, I think, I don't let myself even go there. As Jay said, if I think it and it's, it feels like a good idea and I know it's a good idea, I'm doing it. What's the worst that can happen? Your fears rarely come true anyway. Your fears almost never come true. They never come to pass. So, I think I just learned that I just have to just trust myself and just keep going. If it fucks up, I'll fix it. That's the end of it. That's it. That's it. There's no other way. That's it. I can't say any more about that at all. Really, the self-doubt. No, I think if we have to learn to put ourselves in the right place, do the right thing, think the right thing, take the right actions, the right actions as best as right, the best that we that's all we can do. As Nikki said earlier, if it goes wrong despite our best efforts, it means that we have to learn something. We'll learn it. Get back on the horse. That's it. That's achieving a bold idea right there. There's no other way around it. Zara, please feel free. I'll go to Nikki. I know Nikki has something to say. So
let Nikki let Nikki go ahead.
You're such a gentleman, I swear. Nikki, the mic is yours. We've probably got a couple of minutes that we have to go. I don't want to keep you all night.
Okay, thank you so much. So I wanted to add to that when I don't trust myself, here's a couple of my go-tos. Take a nap. Okay. Take a nap. I will take a nap. Number 2, increase my mindset work on my mindset. And then number 3, I remind myself that I would rather have the regret of trying and failing, knowing I gave my best, than the regret of not trying.
Yeah. Go, Zara.
Now, just circling back, instead of like that, having that regret of not trying, at least trying, and then circling back to what fear. The other day, I was sitting on the canal, and I saw a dog. The dog was trying to drink water, but then after, but I was watching him, like, because in that canal in the front, like there I can see some people, some children who were swimming in the canal, but the dog wanted to drink water, and um, and when the dog came near the water, he he saw his shadow, and he jumped back. He thought
Yeah.
maybe,
Sounds like my dog. It's out barking at itself.
and and for some time I was also like surprised, like what happened to him.
Yeah, it's not the spicy dog.
he was he was thirsty, so
Mm.
he jumped in, and this time he was drinking water. So that actually the obstacle was not another dog watching a dog, but the dog's own shadow, its own doubt.
Mm.
In the same way, my greatest barrier, I grinding, was me myself.
Mm.
And when I cast away that fear and doubt, now things they started opening. So it was me myself which had that. Now when you said trust, I have a special definition, like trust, T, thanking God for all and everything, for giving me that wisdom, for opening those curtains, step by step. And R, receiving the renewal of the revelations. You in the trust. It's not, it's any. You understanding that conviction that I wanted to do this, and now taking action. The trust and the S is that spirit that gives that is part of the God, right? We That spirit is part of the God. And that T, that's the transformation. We forget the past, we go in the future. We stay in the present, and then we reach forward towards the future. If I make sense, right?
No, perfect sense, my friend. I'm just thinking, what a genius you must be. I can't create such analogies that quickly, right? I can't. Give me a year, I'll still be looking at a bit of paper going, T. Yeah. No, but no, what you say is perfectly true, and it is the way forward. It really, it really is.
You
Move forward. The transformation. I think that I think when you accept the transformation has happened, it's when you truly find the peace I think we need to chase our bold idea. I think many people don't accept that they've transformed, that they're a different person to who they were. They think they still think the same way as before. They still have the poverty mindset, they lack the fear mindset, and all the other mindset that we don't want, right? But I think it's when you I know because I've been there, that there comes a moment when you suddenly realize, damn, that wasn't me just holding myself back. It's me, it's my shadow I was scared of. I've been fighting that war with me, myself, and I all this time. What a waste of my energy that's been. Who won? Me. the one right beginning, who knows? But we have to learn somehow, right? And we might, I think, but we must fight that battle, and then realize that transformation moment. It is, and I've got this. Whatever is going to take, I will overcome. Even if I crash and burn, I've still got this, because what you've learned, said, those curtains opening one by one on the journey. Yeah, I think we have to embrace those and realize this is us becoming. But I think the greatest joy is when we arrive at that moment of transformation and realize I am what Sean talked about right at the beginning. I have I'm this new person, the person who does what I do. Damn, that's the joy of being who we are, right? I feel when we arrive there, I'm not saying it can't go wrong, Jay. I'm not saying that we're not. You don't look every so often. You think, am I sure? But but it's, if 5 seconds is probably too long, Jay. The thought comes and it's straight out the window. It's straight gone, right? It's gone. Of course I'm going to do this. Of course I'm going to do this. Am I mad? Yeah, maybe, but I'm still going to do it. Because it's the only thing I can do. What can I do? To do nothing is, you're dead. You might as well not bother, right?
The dog was thirsty, and he jumped in. He was thirsty.
Yeah. Needs means, my friend. Needs means, right? You need calls for it. There's only one course of action, which is jump. Cliff edge, same thing, right? Go on, Jay.
Just to kind of put everything together in my mind, and maybe you can steer me in another direction. But the way I see it is like it's crazy. We're not saying, "Hey, you're 51 years old. Go ahead and start parkouring."
No.
Don't
do that. Don't do that.
Yeah,
Make it plain, Jay. Make it plain.
If you haven't done calisthenics since PE in the 9th grade, don't do it. That's not what we're saying. Yeah. What we're saying is, even though let's say you are 51, you're probably jaded from all the experiences you've already had in your life, and you're going, nope, I don't want to go through that again. But is it a real fear? Is it a real thing? Are you really going to hurt yourself?
No.
Whether it be physically, mentally, or whatever.
No.
Right. So, but a lot of people get to that point and they're not mindful of that. They don't have that mindset and they fear it. And it's those, for me, it's those traumas, right? I've done this before, it failed. I've done that before and it failed. I'm going to give you 2 things to think about. And it comes from 2 really big figures in basketball. Talking about basketball, right? So Michael Jordan had this one interview, and I saw it after he had already been the GOAT, right? And I didn't know anything about this. I saw him at the height of his career, and I was a kid going, wow. When he finally retired, not the semi-retired thing he did, when he really retired and said, I'm done with basketball, he had an interview, and the interview said, no, people know me now for my rings, for my championships, but they forget I failed 300 plus times. I haven't, done those things. I couldn't have done those things had I not had those failures. 300 plus times. For anybody else, that would have been, I'm done with this basketball thing. Screw this. 300 times. This is Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
The next one was Kobe Bryant. Again, retired, had an interview, and it boggled my mind. I'm this storyteller strategist guy, right? Kobe is this legendary figure. How many stories have been told about this guy? How many books have been made? Autobiographies, biographies. Like, how many books are there out there on Kobe? A lot. When someone asked him, right, I think it was right before he passed, what is it you're going to do next? Right? He's already coaching, he was involved with his daughter's um, career in basketball. And the interviewer asked, so what are you going to do next? You know what he said? He wanted to be a storyteller. Dude, how many stories are out there of you? But I think what stood out to me was he wanted to be the storyteller because so many other people have told his story. Now he gets to share the stories he wants to share with others, right? It's just so sad that we weren't able to experience that because of his passing. And that was my aha moment for me was, wait a minute, what? I don't have much time left, right? I need to go.
No one does, right? No one does, Jay. No one does.
Right.
Us in midlife, we're done. Our time is coming.
Just want to make sure like you guys get the news, on time.
Man, but we got to steer or grab that story, our story, and move forward.
We have to do it now, Jay. We have to get on with it. We haven't got to say the time that we had is gone. We say in reality we're lucky if we've got 30 years left, 40 years left. Some might have 50 years if you want to live to 100. But good luck with that because. And I need to rest sometime, right? I need to rest. I need to rest, and I'll be tired after now. But until then, it is realizing that, as I say, this thing about failure, it's just, it's an illusion. Alavina, I see you were muted.
Yes, about the fear zone, I've talked about, it is not about especially me or especially someone, but it is something I noticed through my discussions with people, and a lot of them talked about fears and self-doubt, etc. Because when I set up my mind, I will not say, "Oh, will I do this? Or maybe I will fail. Or maybe no." As I shared earlier, I thought that my mother wanted to discourage me. What did I do? I just stopped telling her about my achievement because my mind was clear about that. I wanted to learn English. So I just say, okay, you don't want to support me. So now you will not know until I am ready. So I will share with you my accomplishments on my terms. Okay, so for me, it is not really about fears when I want to try something. It is about being sure that I am not wasting my time and others' time as well. Because, when I start something, I really sincerely, I hate when I lose. I hate when I waste my time. I really appreciate when I start something, I can go through it from the beginning to the end, and I need to be sure that was what I am doing is correct, not correct for someone else, but correct for me, and it is aligned to me with my principles and my values. So uh, you know right now it is not about fears about what I want to do next. It is about stopping wasting my time because I already wasted a lot of my time due to relationships, due to the fact I postponed a lot of things I wanted to do. I agree, maybe it is for the best. Maybe I've learned a lot from that, but I think I need to be wise about what I want to do in order to make sure that it is what I want. And
Yeah,
also about
I feel,
failures. I
I
already
feel,
said that for
I
me,
feel
failures don't
mm,
exist at all.
mm, mm,
We have two options, not three, not four, two. The one is I don't reach my goal, so I learn something new, or I reach my goal, so it is okay. So
mm.
that's my words about that. Thank you.
Yeah. Look, Dr. said, I don't feel the need to ever clarify on that level because we've all been there. We know, today I know, I do, but I know we've all been there. That's why we're here now because we've had to overcome and face what we thought were our fears, right? We thought there were big things at the time. So I go back to Zara's point. There comes a moment when you've been doing and doing and doing, and this is for everyone. I'm not just not to you specifically, Alavine. I think that there comes a moment when you can breathe, when you can jump in like the dog Zara talked about. It's when you suddenly realize there is nothing there. It's just me, and that's the truth, right? And so for me, I think that's the greatest joy I have today to realize that we really can do anything. If you asked me a year ago, I might have said the same thing, but deep down, there's that 1%. There's a question you ask yourself when no one's looking. Am I sure? Really? That's the fear. I'm saying it's just it's a horrible seed that's been inside of us, and but nothing with time. We must learn to just walk straight past it. Not because, as Jay said, not because we are careless, we're reckless. It's because we trust ourselves. You come to say to yourself, right, me, myself, and I, we're good. We're going to do this anyway because we can. We are going to do it. And we've just done it. Oh, no, nothing went wrong. Thanks. That's just how we have to live, right? As entrepreneurs, we have no choice. But I think the joy that you feel when that moment arrives, it's almost priceless. It truly makes up for all the other fear, for all the times that we let fear get the better of us. The thing is not to let it carry on and get in the better of us. Now when we arrive there, I'm sure everyone will celebrate. They should celebrate, and we all should, and I do, because I think, wow, brilliant. But it's taken everyone to get me this far. Everyone, the customers who I've ruined, the customers who paid me I didn't do. And I say, no, again, we've all had them. The things that we thought went wrong. The people that we let down, even though they gave us grace. They're part of the journey. It's probably thanks to them that we can say, right, I know what I'm doing now. Thank goodness. And you thank God as well for helping you to
Yes,
find yourself.
exactly.
It's
You're
almost
right.
like, it's a miracle. That's why I can't say to you, and I'd love to say just forget your fears. I know that's not how it happens, right? I think my mindset coach played a very big part of saying, Annie, think about it, look at it again. And I'm like, there's nothing there apart from me, right? And then, but it took over and over and over. Even then, I still had to fight myself and say, what are you thinking? I'm not really thinking. I'm just not thinking. I'm just gonna have to do it, right? But that's the joy of you having a bold idea and just going for it. You know, it take time. You take everything you've got, but you have to just believe that you've got this, because you have got this. Like God will give you the task if you couldn't do it. That's my true belief. I think once we can come to that point, that's a transformation moment that
You,
Zara mentioned. Right? Guys, Zara, please.
yes, we have like lots of problem with load shedding electricity, right? And yesterday, and then I will come back to the Arbalene point also, like when that generational shift of our parents versus children's or grandchildren's, right?
Mm,
That generational shift and the way they are thinking and the way the parents are thinking, because it's a patriarchal and patrilineal system, right, where we are living in this part of the world. So, but with all respect, I mean, we cannot treat our children the way our parents treated us. So, in our time, we were like being transferred from one city to another city, then to another city, then to another city, uh, because of that army background and transfers and shifts. So that disturb our studies. That's that disturb our colleges and schools. So my niece today was didn't wanted to go to tuitions academy, and
mm,
she was saying, "Okay, I don't want to go there." And my mother, she was like forcing, "Nay, you have to go there." And my brother was saying, "No, she don't have to, because of you. We know which teacher is best for her, and because of you guys, because you see where we are standing right now." My brother was saying, my mother, that because of the transfers and everything, we were being disturbed of colleges and schools and everything. So don't let this happen to this little girl, because let her go to this tuition center. We know that they have obtained 98% in the exams. Let her go. Let her continue with this teacher, and slowly she's going to be better. And then now circling back to this was for the Halloween, right? I mean, we
mm,
do what you think is best for you, because that there is a generational shift from one, that parents to next one. And then about the fair thing, um, because of the electricity, um, they were like sitting in one room, and the little one niece was like saying, "Oh, I'm afraid of the dark." So we we burned that candle, okay.
mm,
So but I told her, because sometimes there's no electricity for 6 hours, and the candle was very small. It was that much left. So uh, and the batteries were almost like dead of the mobiles, because they were using all the time. So I
mm,
burned the candle, and I told her, "Look, I'm going for the bed, and you better sleep now, because it's very late." So I'm burning this candle, and when it's going to be finished, um, so don't be worried, okay. But she was saying, "Vinay, I'm very afraid, and I doubt myself, and I feel lost when there is no light." And so she was like, she was sitting there with the candle and in the room, and yeah, in the starting the candle did give her comfort, but when that flame died, now that's where her fear rose again.
mm,
So what my point is, कि the darkness was not the enemy.
mm.
It was simply uh, the absence of light, because
Yeah.
nothing changed in that room. Everything was the same. And I did told her next morning when she woke up. I said, "Look, did you felt any difference? I mean, we didn't know. And the fear was where it was in your mind.
Mm.
It's not somewhere else. It's what
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
inside
Yeah.
her."
It's true, my friend. It's true. Look, I hope you would join us tomorrow to talk about how to trust yourself. I think it's something that many of us struggle with. It is a very, I think it's a very simple process. What I've learned it's a very simple process. Many of us do it every day. So I guess it's whether it can help someone if you can. Do join us. I said, no, you, my friends, I'll send you the link anyway. I'm sure. You find us as you always do. That's the other way of looking at it, right? Some people, I don't invite some people, but they still tell me, no, because I don't want to, because they're not on my list. No, they're not usually US, and I'm on my WhatsApp. Jay's on my WhatsApp. Jay knows, there's nothing that he's not going to see, because they get first invites. Some other people, if you're done on my DM list, my inbox, I don't send. I may get there, I may not. So do join us tomorrow, my friend. Check out. Go to my profile, and the event is there. But I want to thank you all for for sharing with us, for your honesty. Nikki as well. She had to go. No, she had to go. So I thank you all. I don't want to mention this author speakers conference. I'm quite sure, Jay, hopefully you're gonna be in the next one. So and we're gonna have to take it on stage. We'll have to get it into real life. Until the first one is Zoom, but after that, so we have to get out there and get people in the real world to start listening to us. If you wonder how you're going to join in a conference in London, there's big screens, Jay. There's big screens, huge screens, right? I've seen it work. You might, it's probably better than you being there. They can see you bigger than they can see me, and they can hear for sure, right? So anyway, let me show you a quick video before we go, and just so that way you can see, what's. You can't really see. You have an idea what we have in mind. I'm obliged to show the video, right? It's only a few seconds long, but I thank you all. I said those in the audience, especially those on stage, Alavine, Jay, Zara. I couldn't do this without you. I really thank you for filling the gaps for us, and thanks for making the conversation real. I'll say that much, right? But I thank you all. Lisa's show is on next, on 45 minutes. Now time to get a cup of tea quick. It's not a bad thing, because I can't fall asleep in between. That's what I'm thinking, right?
The only bread and butter I have is this business, this new startup which I'm growing right now for my family and for my family, my bread and butter. So I'm very serious about like what I'm doing. It's not like I don't know you guys. I know you guys for quite some time, and I built this relationship, and I feel so proud of myself. I I did make lots of mistakes in my life, and I learned from them, grinding all the time, but I learned it. So I'm growing this startup. I would like you guys to like just stay in touch and see like how I'm growing globally, and would like to invite you all to see like to have a check on me, not to sell anything. I have a systematic duplication, everything. I've structured everything. So inshallah, maybe in the future, you guys are going to think about me also, right?
Yeah, I think well, how to put it. We've all got a business to run, right? And I'd say I have no problem now meeting anyone to find out about what you do. Now, if I don't need what you do, then I may know someone who does. And so the other way I look at it is, I think we can all learn to sell like a doctor. Yeah, yes, you got something that you're offering, but unless it's right for me, when I say I'm not gonna I'm not gonna buy it for some. As I said, that's just how life is, right? So yeah, let's meet. Why not? We should all meet. So I want to know what everyone does. That way I know when to call you. And if you want to try and tell me what you offer, no problem. That's your right. That's your remit. That's your job. Because some people take offense. They call it pitch slapping. I'm saying that's not what it is. I'm just telling you what I do. If we can help you, then let's look at how I can help make your life easier. if you can't help, if you can't help me, then I'm sure you're not,
we
you're not going to anyway.
we have our UK marketplaces. We have 18 different marketplaces live in all different continents, and we are trying to build our downlines and training people, educating the prospects and everything. So mm, making them understand what duplications are, what network marketing is, what MLM is, mass level marketing, what are these products, who we are since 1978 from Arizona, USA. So telling them the basics of aloe vera gel, because even because Christians, they have a very, very strong faith on aloe vera because of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
They have done a big research on that. In Dallas, they have their own fields in Dominican Republic and Mexico and Dallas. So let's see like how in the future. I'm not here to pitch anything, but just to tell my friends I know that I for this is my bread and butter, and I really wanted to change myself, my life, my lifestyle, my you know, and everything, and the people who are attached to me. So and we can all build together. So if I've structured everything for the last few months. We were working like burning, what do you call that? Burning the midnight oil.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No, so I'd love to meet, and then you can tell me more. I think everyone has to have that openness. It's how network really works. Otherwise, network doesn't work.
and the
Jay,
beautiful thing about this is we are available in 160 countries. The beautiful thing, yeah, Jay.
yeah, no, look, I say thank you, my friends. Do enjoy your night. My event is £10 a ticket, $12 a ticket. So I do expect most of you to turn up, my friends. I really do. Because you're gonna enjoy it. And one day you'll be the ones on stage, and I'll be asking our friends to buy a ticket to come and listen to you, right? Anyway, so I'll play my video and then it should end. Let me find the link that way I can put that in the comments. If you want more information, you're just gonna go and have a look, right? Yes, then this LinkedIn page. All right, so let me put that in the comments now before I play my video, and then check it out. Check it out. Check it out. So wait, okay, yeah, there we are. I haven't joined LinkedIn, but thank you so much. I'm so grateful to all of you for all that you always do, right? I really am. Paulette, I see you in the audience now. I didn't see you before. Anyway, so Author Speakers Conference, let's do that. Anyway, if I could type without typing all in capitals, that'd be really helpful, wouldn't it? It's really annoying. Oh man, why does this happen to me? Okay, right. We've done it properly this time. Thank you so much, guys and lady Levine. Enjoy your night. So hopefully we'll see you in Paulette's. Not Paulette. Paulette is with us in Lisa's room next. If we don't, I'm not. I'll still love you, right? Jay, put your glasses on. Jay squinting now. I get worried now. Is it about glasses? I'm sure it is. If it's not, then okay, I'll leave you to it. Anyway, my friends, enjoy your night. Enjoy your night. Here goes Author Speakers. Yeah.